This video will be an analysis of the guitar and bass parts that are present during the choruses of the song. A tab sheet of each respective part will briefly be displayed at the end of its analysis. A brief demo of all parts combined will be featured at the end of the video. The tuning used in this video and on the record is standard E and 440 wavelength calibration. This video assumes that you've watched part 2 of this 5-part series which covers the verses of the song. We're going to use a very similar approach here. The only difference is we're going to base it on 2 chords. Okay, we're going to use the E flat major 7th chord that we did in the verses. And we're also going to use the F major bar chord. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play right up to the 3 beat in the 4th measure, just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3. Okay, notice that I broke on 3. I didn't follow it with that extra 8th note. We have an 8th note rest there, followed by another 8th note rest on 4. In short, that's a quarter note rest. We're going to finish up the 4th measure by playing 3/16 notes counted E and A on that same chord, picked up, down, and up. Okay, so with the 4-count lead in, let's run through the first 4 measures one time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, E and A. The 4 measures that we just covered on guitar 1 will actually be repeated one more time. In short, we're going to play 8 measures. The 4th measure, which is now the 8th measure, is going to be played differently. Okay, this will be what you call the second ending. What we're going to do is begin the measure just like we have been all along. On the and beat after 3, we'll pick it down and let it ring out as an 8th note. And we're going to end the measure by playing 4/16 notes on that same chord, counted 4 E and A, picked down, up, down, up. So with the 4-count lead in, what I'm going to do is I'll just play the 5th through 8th measures just so you can see what I mean. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4 E and A. Okay. Now let's run through all 8 measures right from the top one time. I'll give you a 4-count lead in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4 E and a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4 E and A. The chorus will appear 3 times in the song. You have just learned the part for guitar 1 during the first chorus that appears at 1 minute and 1 second. It will be played slightly different the second time it appears at 2 minutes and 16 seconds and progress yet again for the final appearance at 3 minutes and 38 seconds. A more detailed analysis of these variations on guitar 1 will be featured after the demo at the end of this video. We have 8 measures in total here. We'll play through the first 4 measures until we reach the repeat sign highlighted in yellow at the end of the 4th measure. And notice above that measure that there's a highlighted 1 with a bar above it. That's the first ending. That'll send us back to the first measure where the repeat sign is for a second pass. On the second pass, we'll ignore the first ending and skip directly to the second ending, which appears to be the fifth measure on paper below. It's actually the eighth measure. Guitar 2 is going to accent along with Guitar 1 using the exact same approach that was used during the verses of the song. We're going to use root 5 power chords and pick using the same count and picking motion. We're also going to add in the series of 3 16th notes as ghost notes on 2 yen and 4 yen. What we really need to look at here is the fourth measure. That's what's going to differ. On Guitar 1, after 3, when we play that F major bar chord, we're picking it down on 3 and breaking for a quarter of the measure. Okay, what we're going to do on Guitar 2 is add 2 more ghost notes as 16th notes on the and beats picked down and up. We'll break for a 16th note on 4 and finish up the measure by playing 3 16th notes on that F5 power chord picked up, down and up, counted the and up. With the 4 count lead in, I'm just going to play the fourth measure one time just so you can follow along. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and a 3 and a E and a. Let's run through all 8 measures in sequence on Guitar 2 for the first chorus just one time. Because this is really long-winded, I'm not going to count aloud as I play. I'll just give you the 4 count lead in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Guitar 2 will have to adjust for the Guitar 1 variations in the second and third choruses to double its chord accents. If you watch the respective video segments detailing Guitar 1, you should be able to make the adjustments on Guitar 2 without any need to further expand upon it. Here we've got 8 measures. We'll play through the first 4 measures until we reach the repeat sign at the end of the fourth measure. That'll send you back to the repeat sign at the beginning of the first measure. Notice the highlighted 1 in the bar above the fourth measure. That's the first ending. On the second pass through, we'll skip that first ending and go directly to the second ending. The bass is going to be 8 measures long. We're basically going to follow a 2 measure long riff pattern for the bulk of these 8 measures. We're going to start out by placing the third finger on the A string at the 6th fret. We're going to begin with 2 8th notes counted 1 and picked down and up. On 2, we encounter a dotted 8th note rest. On the final 16th of the second quarter, we're going to place the middle finger on the low E string at the 6th fret and pick that up. On 3, we're going to go back to the A string at the 6th fret and play 2 more notes counted 3E, picked down and up. What this is another 16th note followed by an 8th on the E beat. And on which is the final 16th note of the third quarter, we're going to go back to the middle finger on the low E string at the 6th fret. With the 4 count lead in, this is what the first measure sounds like so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, Okay, now to finish up the measure, we're going to play 4 16th notes counted 4 and and the first one will be with the third finger going back to the D string at the 6th fret. We'll pick that down on 4. On the E beat, we're going to slide all the way up to the 10th fret. Okay, we're not picking that note, we're just sliding. And the next 2 notes are the and beats, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to take that pinky and tuck it right underneath the third finger and play the D string at the 10th fret. We're going to pick that down on the and beat, and on the beat, we're going to go to the middle finger on that same string at the 8th fret and pick that up. So with the 4-count lead in, this is what the first measure is going to sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4 and a. And now we have reached the second measure. We're going to begin by placing the first finger on the D string at the 7th fret. We're going to pick this down on 1 and let it ring out as an 8th note. On the and beat right after 1, we're going to go with the middle finger to the A string at the 8th fret. We'll pick this up. Okay, this is another 8th note. On 2, we've encountered the dotted 8th note rest again. On which is the final 16th note of the second quarter, we're going to go with the middle finger to the low E string on the 8th fret and pick that up. On 3, we're going to go with the third finger to the A string on the 8th fret and play 2 more notes, counted 3 E, pick down and up. The first is the 16th, followed by an 8th note on E. And then on the final 16th note of the third quarter, we're going to go back to the middle finger on the low E string at the 8th fret. So with the 4-count lead in, this is what the second measure sounds like so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3. Now to finish up the second measure, we're going to play 4 16th notes, counted 4 E and a, pick down, up, down, up. We're going to start by putting the third finger back on the A string at the 8th fret. We'll pick that down on 4. On the E beat, we're going to go up to the 10th fret with the pinky on that same string, pick it up. On the and beat, we're going to go to the middle finger on the 8th fret, pick down. And on the beat, we're going to go to the first finger on the A string at the 7th fret, picked up. So with the 4-count lead in, this is what the second measure is going to sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4 E and a. Let's run through the first 2 measures in sequence just one time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4 E and a. 1 and 2, 3, 4 E and a. The first 2 measures are actually going to be played 4 times, giving us 8 measures total. But in the 4th pass, we're going to adjust the end of the second measure slightly. This will be the 8th measure. What we're going to do, instead of doing the fill at the end, we're going to place the third finger back on the A string at the 8th fret, and we're going to play 2 16th notes, counted 4 E, picked down and up. And on the and beat right after that, we're going to place the middle finger on the low E string and pick this up. It's going to be an 8th note, and we're just going to slide down. Okay? So with the 4-count lead in, this is what the 8th measure is going to sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4 E and. Let's run through all 8 measures in sequence just one time. I won't count aloud as I play. I'm just going to give you the 4-count lead in. 1, 2, 3, 4. The bass will consistently play the same part throughout all 3 choruses. In total, we have 8 measures here. Notice the repeat sign at the end of the second measure. When we play through the first two measures and reach that, it's going to send us back to the repeat sign at the beginning of the first measure. We'll do that 3 times as indicated by the highlighted 1 through 3 above the second measure. The bar above it indicates the first through third endings. On the fourth pass through, we're going to skip the first through third ending and go directly to the fourth ending, which is the third measure below with the 4 above it, highlighted in yellow. The second chorus begins at 2 minutes and 16 seconds. We're going to take the same approach that we did during the first chorus. It's going to follow an 8 measure long pattern, but what we're going to do differently is play the 4th and 8th measures different. We'll start out with the 4th measure. What this is actually the last measure of the first chorus. So what I'm going to do is give you a 4 count lead in and just play the first 4 measures of the second chorus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, Yana. Once again, we're going to repeat the 4 measures that we used to start out the second chorus just 1 time. The 8th measure will differ once again from the 4th measure. So let's cover the 8th measure right now. What we're going to do is start out with 3 8th notes counted 1 and 2 with all downstrokes. The 2 beat, that 8th note is actually dotted, so the time value is extended for 3/8 of the measure. On which is the 16th right after 2, the final 16th that is, we'll pick the chord upwards. So this is what the first half of the 8th measure is going to sound like. 1 and 2, Now we've reached 3. We're going to play 2 16th notes, counted 3E, and an 8th note on that same chord. Pick down, up, down, just like this. 3 and. Then we're going to finish up with 4 16th notes, counted 4 and on that same chord. Pick down, up, just like this. 4 and. So with the 4 count lead in, this is what the 8th measure is going to sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, a 3 and 4 and. With a 4 count lead in, let's run through all 8 measures on guitar 1 in the second chorus just 1 time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4 and. The physical layout of these 8 measures for guitar 2 during the second chorus is exactly the same as the physical layout for guitar 1 during the first chorus. Just remember that the 4th and 8th measures are different than they appear for guitar 1 during the first chorus. The third chorus will be played slightly different than the second chorus. Each time we progress through this, it adapts, it plays slightly different. What we're going to do at the end of the 4th measure is we're going to take a quarter note rest on 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play the first 4 measures with a 4 count lead in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4. Just like that. Once again, guitar 1 is going to follow the same 4 measure long progression to finish up the 3rd chorus. The 8th measure will actually be identical to the 8th measure of the 2nd chorus. What's going to differ here is the 5th measure. We're still going to work off of the F5 bar chord, but what will differ is the last quarter of that 5th measure. We're going to play an 8th note picked down on 4, followed by a 16th note picked down on, and another 16th note picked up on the upbeat, just like this. 4 and up. So with the 4 count lead in, I'm just going to play measures 5 through 8 just one time, just so you can follow along. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, and a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, and up. Let's run through all 8 measures of the 3rd chorus on guitar 1 in sequence just one time, with a 4 count lead in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 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 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, and a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, and up. The 3rd chorus will be easy. Just play through this sequence of 8 measures one time as is.